Hey everybody, Chris, the old ass retro gamer here. Let me know how I'm looking, how I'm sounding. The program's been acting a little weird. That's why I was a little bit late. It was kind of stuttering a little bit, so I'm not sure if this is going to crash again or what. But let me know what's up, and I will let you know what's up over here. So, welcome everybody to Recent Pickups 69, dudes. Yeah, this is everything. God, I got something in my eye already. Wow. This is everything I have added to my physical media collection in the month of August 2022 in the way of movies and video games. If it wasn't for this past weekend, there would probably be 4 games I'd be talking about tonight. Oh, so I don't know. It's this light, man. Sometimes it looks nice. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't understand. It's just the way it is. Yeah, I went out game hunting with some friends for my birthday over the weekend in Wisconsin, and things happened. Lots of things happened. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about tonight in the way of the video games. Usually it's more movies than games. Tonight it's definitely more games than movies. So I hope you're ready for that. It's going to be a change-up. So, yeah, I actually bought a bunch of really cool stuff. Some of these were pre-orders from Amazon. And, yeah, I actually bought some Blu-rays this month, which is kind of cool. Found a couple of new boutique companies that I can get movies from online, but these are from, like, overseas, like way, way overseas. What's up, Pat? How's it going? What's up, Mondane? Got Happy Beard Games here. We got the Game Beaters. Yeah, repping the Game Beaters. Part of the Jinx squad, yo. So when it comes to movies, we'll start off with the Blu-rays, and I got some pretty cool stuff. Starting off with a movie that is a big part of my childhood. My family absolutely loves this movie. I still love this movie. It's Back to the Beach. If you've ever seen, I've never seen a Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello beach movie from the 60s ever. Never. Still haven't. But I've seen this. My parents rented this back in the day, and I just couldn't stop laughing. I just thought it was super funny. It's like a reunion movie from those beach movies that they were doing back in the 60s, but it's also making fun of itself like a lot, and 80s culture and stuff. So apparently Frankie and Annette got together after all those beach movies in the world that this movie takes place, have had 2 kids. One of them lives in California. The other one is a punker who is very rebellious, that still lives with them. Annette Funicello is obsessed with Skippy peanut butter because at this point in time in the 80s, Annette Funicello was selling Skippy peanut butter in commercials. Frankie Avalon is no longer a surfer. He now sells used cars. And it is super, super funny. Like Pee-wee Herman shows up in here. A bunch of other 60s sitcom stars show up, like the cast of Gilligan's Island. And what is it, Don whatever from Man from U.N.C.L.E. or whatever it was. I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, this has, was it Aunt Becky from Full House? Is like one of her first big movies before she went to jail. It's super funny, and I think it still holds up. Paramount has been doing like this Diamond series or whatever they call it, the Paramount Presents series, where they put out like a really cool special edition of like an older movie. They did the same thing. I have a copy of Eddie Murphy's The Golden Child that's like this, where it comes in this slipcase that you can actually fold out into like the original theatrical poster, which I thought was pretty cool. But they only produced these, I think, to order, if I remember correctly. So yeah, limited edition, I guess. So next up we have, so I owned a copy of this originally on Blu-ray, and then I pre-ordered the 4K that just came out. Luckily, I do watch a lot of these new, like there's Serial at Midnight and Films at Home YouTube channels where they discuss movies that are coming out on Blu-ray and 4K and all that kind of stuff. And they basically said, don't buy the 4K. The 4K looks like crap. They used like a bad print. They color timed it all wrong. It's so dark at times you can't see what the hell is going on. It's like everything is like murky and gray, and it's just unappealing to look at when the movie originally did not look like this. Whoever did the color timing looks like crap. Yeah, representing the Jinx squad. So the guy who runs Films at Home was like, if you want the best copy of this movie, get this director's edition that came out not too long ago on Blu-ray and skip the 4K. And that's exactly what I did. So we're talking about Heat, the movie where Al Pacino and Robert De Niro finally got together in a movie together. So this is the director's definitive edition. Everyone was saying this looks and sounds better than the 4K does. So I said, forget that. I canceled my pre-order and I got this. And I think this was like $11 brand new from Amazon. It's a really awesome, really long crime movie. And I saw this in the theater with my brother, and I kind of didn't like it when I first saw it. I think it was just because like the length kind of like wore me down a little bit, but watching it on home video changed my mind. So I really appreciate it now. It is like a masterpiece of crime cinema. I absolutely love it. So I can't wait to sit down and watch this. I need to put aside some time, because it's a long movie. Found this at Best Buy this past week. I went over there to see what was new because my local Target, which is where I used to go to get all my home video needs, like whenever I get a 4K or a Blu-ray or whatever, I'd always get it at my Target. But when my Target downsized that section again, so they basically have nothing except like a rack when you're going to go check out. It's like an impulse buy section, and then they have like a little section of movies in front of the electronic section. They used to have like a row, not anymore. So now I'm going to Best Buy all the time because they seem to at least be keeping up with the new releases. Yeah, I've basically topped out my 3D Blu-ray collection. I have so many 3D Blu-rays. I should honestly make another 3D Blu-rays to watch on your PSVR video. I have so many to choose from now. They are getting harder to find. I used to get a bunch of them from Korea, Pat, that would have like a 4K version and a 3D version on Blu-ray in the same package. I haven't done that in a while because I think Korea's even kind of put the kibosh on that. None of the new movies that are in 3D in the theaters are on home video in 3D anymore. I was really hoping I could get Doctor Strange 2 in 3D, but that isn't happening. But like I said, go to now Best Buy is where I go for home video stuff. And they had this, and it turned out I didn't own any of these movies currently. I think I had back in the day on DVD, but I never bought them on Blu-ray at all. So I found this Robert Rodriguez trilogy that has El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico on it. And I love the first two movies. El Mariachi and Desperado I think are absolutely fantastic, like lower budget action movies by Robert Rodriguez. I'm not really big on Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I think by adding Johnny Depp into it, they kind of cheapened it and kind of went a little bit too mainstream because it's just like it's way too many threads for a 90-minute movie. So much going on, it's kind of hard to keep track of. So many characters to keep track of, and who's on whose side, and who's double and triple crossing who. It's like, no, can we just have the simplicity of the first two movies? That's all I ask. But it's cool to have all three on in one little thin set instead of having three separate movies on my shelf. So I was super thrilled to get this for about $10. But like I was saying, these new boutique home video companies that I found through the YouTube channels Films at Home and Serial at Midnight. Hey, what's up? What's up, Dan? How's it going? Waves, what's up, Peter? Can you hear me, Horton? Horton, here's a who. The Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, I have the Into the Spider-Verse 3D one I got from Korea that has the 4K. I think the 4K and the 3D Blu-ray. So one of these boutique labels that I learned about through these other channels is one called Umbrella, and they are in Australia. And a lot of their movies, well, some of their movies, I guess, are region locked for Australia. Some of them are region free. Some of them are region 1 through whatever. I went to their website to see what they had because the people on those two channels are always talking them up about how awesome they are. And I found a couple of pretty cool things. One of them is an upgrade to a horribly, horribly bad Japanese import Blu-ray that I had of this, that it looked like a VHS tape, and it had, like, the volume on this Blu-ray was so low, I had to, like, turn my surround sound system up to the maximum just so I could hear people talking. It was that bad. I was actually really disappointed in it. And I saw that they had a version of that movie on Umbrella's website, and I think this was like $18, $19 American, and that is Megaforce. If you've never seen this movie, get off your ass and watch it. It is one of the goofiest, cheesiest movies to ever come out of the 80s. It has the worst score ever. It is like, people complain about synth scores from the 80s. This one has probably one of the worst ones, complete with like laser beam sounds when there's like a fight scene happening. You hear pew pew pew. It's horrible, but it is fun. It is stupid and funny. I absolutely love it. You got Barry Bostwick playing the hero. It's kind of like the early G.I. Joe movie. It's about like a military force that it's like multinational. You've got people from all different countries working together to take on like terrorist threats and stuff. The only weird thing about this was when the movie was going into production, Kenner had to design all the vehicles because they were planning a toy line for this. So all the vehicles that the characters in this movie use look like gigantic toys. There's a flying motorcycle in here, and the effect of it flying is one of the dumbest, cheesiest things you'll ever see in your life. Absolutely love it. And this one actually has special features on it. There's actually a lot. Interviews with a lot of the actors who are still around. There's the commercial for the Atari 2600 game that I actually own in my collection. I showed off in the Atari 2600 live stream when it came to the collection. And it's kind of awesome. Look it up if you haven't. You will have, I think you will love it. It is just so dumb and cheesy and hokey, but it's fun. Yes, I do. I have an app on my phone. I think it's just called Movie Collection. It's not really complicated. But yeah, the thing about the Australian Blu-rays is they're just slightly thicker than a standard Blu-ray. Yeah, Umbrella is the name of the company where I found all of these, and it has really cool alternate artwork. There's like the one of the flying motorcycle, and you can see one of the cheesy toy-looking cars. There's another version of it from, like, I guess the Australian home video cover, and the inside even has like some artwork in it, which is kind of neat. I watched it the day that it showed up. I was so excited about watching this and actually being able to hear people talking, unlike that other Blu-ray that I had. Yeah, I couldn't help it. I was grinning from ear to ear. It's so bad. It even has Persis Kambata, who played Ilea in Star Trek The Motion Picture. She's the love interest for the main character. It's so bad, it's kind of awesome. The other movie that I picked up through them at the same time, I think this was also $18 American, is a combo pack of Ghoulies 1 and 2. I've talked about Full Moon Entertainment on the channel quite a bit. Trancers, Subspecies. What other movies have they done? Doll Man, Demonic Toys, that kind of thing. This is from pre-Full Moon, when Charles Band owned a company called Empire Pictures, and they're actually making some bigger budget movies that went theatrical. This was one of the Empire movies that Charles Band worked on before his company went bankrupt. And Ghoulies, I remember watching on cable all the time when I was a kid. It was kind of like a ripoff of Gremlins, but it has like a weird magical satanic twist to it. And I remember watching it a lot. I watched it maybe like a month ago, and I don't think it quite holds up, but it's still kind of cool. I want all these Charles Band movies at home on a home video, so I picked it up. But I don't remember part 2 very much. I think I saw part 2 maybe once on cable when I was a kid, but that's the one I'm not really that familiar with. But lots of cool extras on each movie. I'll open this up real quick so I can take a gander at the inside. So what other artwork we got? Okay, so this is the artwork I'm used to, where the ghoulies coming out of the toilet, and I guess that artwork of the ghoulie coming out of the toilet scared so many kids back in the day that they doubled down on the poster for the second movie and did it again. And he actually shot something of a ghoulie coming out of the toilet in the movie. Yeah, the back looks kind of normal. The interior doesn't really have anything special in it at all. But 2 discs, a movie on each disc. That's nice. This is actually, there was like Screen Factory actually put out a double pack like this, and this is the exact same artwork that was on that. But this plays in Region A, Region 1 or whatever it is. Also, it says right here on the back, yeah, Region A. So fantastic. Got 2 Empire movies crossed off the list. I'm not interested in getting 3 or 4. Those were not Empire movies. So happy to have that, like goofy, cheesy horror comedy type movies. Yeah, Megaforce on 2600. I have that game. It is so it's an Atari 2600 game. You know, there's not much to it, but it's fun. You never seen Megaforce? Yeah, go watch it, dude. It is a ton of fun. It is like so bad. Like the music will make you groan. It is so cheesy. Looks like a 16mm case instead of a standard Ford. Yeah, it is just slightly thicker. I'm not okay with that, but you know what can you do? They have not released Megaforce in the Americas yet. Like no American company has released it. Like I said, I originally had that Japanese version of it, and it sucked. It was one of the worst quality Blu-rays I've ever owned. But the Australians seem to know what the hell's up. So now we're moving on to the 4Ks, and this one I could have bought years ago, but I didn't want to because I didn't do any research into it. I had a Blu-ray set of this movie, and it had all 3 cuts of the movie in this one set. I did not know if this 4K version that it came out, and the day that this came out on home video, it also played in the theaters for one night only in like 4K, and I went and saw it, and I was like, oh my god, this movie looks so amazing in 4K. But I never bought the home video 4K because I didn't know if it had those extra editions of the movie on it. We're talking Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There is the theatrical cut. There is the special, what is it? The special edition? The theatrical version, the special edition, and the director's cut. The theatrical cut is the one that everybody usually remembers. The director's edition was the special edition was the one that was shown on television where they put all this extra footage that was cut out of the movie back in and made Spielberg reshoot a scene where Richard Dreyfuss actually goes inside the alien ship at the end of the movie, and you see what the inside of the ship looks like. And Spielberg never wanted to show that. He wanted that to be left to your imagination, but what I think was ABC or whatever who was broadcasting it was like, we'll give you some extra money, go shoot the damn thing, and he did it anyway. So the director's cut is Spielberg's like final cut where he combined the things that he liked about that special edition and his theatrical cut. And I watched this the other day while my friends were here. I had it playing in the background while we were playing some board games, and it looks and sounds absolutely fantastic. I was so ticked. I could have had this for as long as it's been out, but I just never picked it up because I did not know that it had all the extra versions of the movie on there. So absolutely thrilled to own this now. What's up, Smash GT? How's it going? Gotta love the swag. The Jinx Squad! Also picked up, video games. I'm a video game channel primarily. Had to have Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I totally forgot that this came out on home video. I went and saw it in the theater a couple weeks after it came out. I didn't like it quite as much as the first one. Number one, it's too long, especially for a kid's movie. And number two, there's too much of the human characters in it, like the whole wedding thing and the deputy with the coffee shop stuff. I was just like, no, you did not need to have that in there. I did not like that. Everything that involved, Sonic and Tails and Knuckles and Robotnik and all that, I thought was pretty awesome and basically right on par with the first movie. But all the extra human stuff that was in here, I was like, just get that out of here. I mean, we don't need that. No one came here to see that. I came here to see a movie called Sonic because I wanted to see Sonic. And the post-credit scene makes me very excited to see where the inevitable part 3 is going to be going. I cannot wait, number one, to find out who they cast as the voice of that character. I will not ruin it if you have not seen it yet. I can't wait to see who they cast as the voice, and maybe other characters that might pop up in it as well, because they only set up Tails at the end of the first movie, and they added in Knuckles into the movie too, which is a big surprise, and I was very thankful for that because Knuckles is pretty awesome in this movie. But maybe we'll see Amy. Maybe we'll see, what was the Big the Cat? Maybe we'll see some of those other characters. I don't know. But I'm really looking forward to seeing another movie, which they definitely are going to be making. Yeah, that wedding thing, I couldn't stand it. I was rolling my eyes the whole time. I was like, why is this here? Why is this happening? Why are we watching this? This has nothing to do with anything. Like, I understand they needed to do all this stuff with the humans in the first movie to kind of set everything up, but I kind of figured they were just going to have James Marsden be like the dad guy in the background while Sonic goes around and does all adventuring kind of things. Lots and lots and lots of throwbacks to the games in here, like Sonic snowboarding and stuff like that. And there's like in-jokes in the background that are all about the video games. You can tell the people that made these movies really are fans of the games. You really lost regarding the end credits scene and how Jim Carrey... Yeah, they released the first season. Yeah, they did release the first season of Stranger Things, and it looked like that VHS case, and I actually bought it, and then I realized, I'm like, why did I buy this when I can just watch it anytime I want on Netflix? I don't want to see a weird rom-com in a Sonic movie. No, not really. But nowadays, I probably would just buy them to have them, because that doesn't mean I'm going to have Netflix forever. I mean, if they just start releasing nothing but garbage and their movie selection goes down the crapper, I can, just cancel my subscription and still be able to watch Stranger Things. I would love to own Stranger Things 4. Yeah, it part 2 works when it comes to all the video gamey stuff, but everything else not so much. I upgraded another Blu-ray of mine to 4K. Didn't realize this came out. Totally, was not on my radar. But I love this flick. I saw it in the theater twice, and it's Smokin' Aces. It's kind of like one of those wannabe Quentin Tarantino movies, but this is by Joe Carnahan, who did The A-Team. He did Narc and something else recently, too. Oh, Cop Shop, which I thought was pretty fantastic. Yeah, it's about a whole bunch of like hitmen converging on this hotel to take somebody out. You don't know exactly who that person is and what he's done to warrant all these hitmen. But it has a great cast. It's got Ryan Reynolds in it. Commons in it. It was one of Chris Pine, who plays Kirk now. It was one of his first movies. Ray Liotta. And, oh, God, what's her freaking name? Alicia freaking Keys is in this. That's her right there. And when I saw this with one of my coworkers in the theater, there's a shot where the camera follows her ass as she's walking down the hall in some tight pants. And he's like, that's what a woman needs to look like. That's what a woman's supposed to look like. And I was just sitting there going like, yep. It's funny. It can be kind of pretentious at times when it's trying to like weave in like these weird like metaphors and shit and philosophical stuff where it doesn't really need to be there. But it is a really fun, fast-paced, like visually interesting movie. I really like it. Need to have it. Skip the sequel that came out direct to video. Now I have some of the Scream Factory 4Ks. One of them is another upgrade. I just bought the Blu-ray of this, and I found out that like right after I bought it, I had opened it. I hadn't watched it yet. I have seen the movie prior to owning the copy, but that the remastering on the Blu-ray was absolutely terrible. Like it looked like an upscaled VHS tape, and I was like, "Oh man, like really? I just spent money on it." Luckily, I didn't spend a whole lot. I think I spent like $11 or $12 on it. But then I found out that they were doing a 4K restoration, which is going to fix all of that because the movie was filmed on 16 millimeter, which is not the greatest quality, but it was a low budget horror movie. They didn't have the money to get like 35 millimeter or whatever. So they, what's it called? I think it's, what's the name of the company? Studio Canal, I think, paid for the restoration, and Scream Factory licensed their restoration for this edition. We're talking about Dog Soldiers. I talked about this maybe in 3 or 4 months ago in one of my live streams for the pickups. It's a werewolf movie that's about a bunch of Scottish soldiers that are on maneuvers out in the forest, and they get attacked by like a werewolf pack. And it's really, really good. It is like the low budget did not affect the design of the werewolves. They look scary. They're like these lanky, tall, horrific looking things that will rip you to pieces. And it has a bunch of really awesome twists. The characters are really likable. I mean, I wouldn't have double dipped on it if I didn't like it. So I absolutely had to have the 4K. I opened it up to make sure that the discs looked good. I need to watch it and see what the restoration looks like. But Serial at Midnight, I think he did it, and so did Films at Home. They did like a comparison between this and the old Blu-ray, and it's like night and day. So I'm super thrilled that I did the upgrade. I pre-ordered that actually through Amazon. Also upgraded my copy of Child's Play on 4K through Scream Factory. This is like a 3-disc set too. This one has one disc is the 4K restoration, one is the regular Blu-ray that they released in the old edition, and the third disc is a Blu-ray that is nothing but extras. And this movie looks pretty freaking awesome in 4K. It looks so good. This is another kind of pseudo low-budget horror movie, but it translates so well to 4K. They didn't do any DNR stuff with like that smoothing of the image. All the film grain is there, and it makes it even scarier because now, like with the HDR that was done to this, with the black levels now being so dark, it looks fantastic. So I'm super thrilled about that, but it doesn't stop there because it turns out that Scream Factory also released Child's Play 2 and Child's Play 3. Child's Play 2 is actually my favorite of the original trilogy. This one is more like this one was kind of like a psychological thriller more than a horror movie. It was like, is the little kid really like, is the doll really possessed by a serial killer, or is it this kid that's crazy? And is the kid doing all the killing? No, it turned out the doll was doing it. This one is more of a slasher movie, and it's really, really fun. It's really colorful. Some of the kills are nasty. What happens to Chuck? Like, there's one thing about these movies: they jack Chucky up horribly at the end of each of these movies. He gets jacked up pretty bad here. He gets jacked up horribly bad here. We're talking like limbs missing, melted, blown up. It's like nuts. And I absolutely love that. I watched this the other night, and it looks amazing in 4K. And I was watching a bunch of the extras. They have an interview with the kid who played Andy. His foster sister has an interview with her, and she seems really cool. I kind of feel like if I ever do make a feature film, I need to have her in my movie. I love it. It's so much fun. The third one I'm not too big on. This was the first one out of all of the Child's Play movies that I actually saw in the theater. And I was really kind of disappointed that they didn't keep going with the timeline that this movie set up, where this takes place like maybe like 6 or 7 months after the first movie. This one does like a time jump of like 5 years, and now Andy is like a teenager and he's in a military school, and Chucky goes to the military school to try to, possess him, but he's too old now, so he tries to possess another kid, and it's like just kind of like too much. Also, these movies were released in theaters less than a year apart, so quality on this one not really important. It was mostly like get that movie out as fast as you can, because Child's Play 2 was like a mega hit, and this one was not, which is why it took so long to get to Bride of Chucky. Terminator, yeah, he's the Terminator in the second one. Yeah, I love the second one. It's my favorite one. I think that one's the most fun to watch. This one, not so much. That's why it's still unopened. I have not sat down and watched it yet, but it does have a good amount of brand new extras on it, which I'm really interested to watch. See people explain themselves. And the last 4K I have is from Arrow Video. This is the British boutique label. And they pick, like I always say, they pick some of the strangest movies to give 4K treatments to. And they decided to do Flatliners. Not the remake that came out like 5 or 6 years ago with now Elliot Page in it. This is the one from the 90s that has Julia Roberts and Kiefer Sutherland and Kevin Bacon in it, where a bunch of med students want to know what the afterlife is like, if there even is an afterlife. So they keep like killing themselves, and then they want to see who can last the longest, as being dead before they're resuscitated, and see if they have anything to talk about, like any stories of things they saw while they were dead. And it's not like what you see when you're dead, it's what you see after you come back that's the problem. And it's a really cool movie. It's really interesting. The set designs are great. Not the costumes, but like when the students are trying to kill themselves, they wear like this blanket that looks like bubble wrap that has like a coil going through it. And when they're trying to kill somebody, they try to lower their body temperature so the coils turn blue like it's cold, and then when they're trying to resuscitate somebody, the coils turn red like it's hot. It's just a real interesting lighting trick that kind of like plays on the room because it's usually in a dark room where they're doing all this stuff. But then once all the things start to happen after they're brought back to life, like weird lighting tricks start happening. And Joel Schumacher, like, take away the Batman movies that he did, he was a great filmmaker. I just think he was the wrong choice for Batman. But a lot of great special features on here. Also, can't wait to sit through this again. I haven't seen this movie in probably 15, almost 20 years. So there's that. And that's it for the movies. Half an hour. That's not bad. So now we'll move on to the video games. One thing was, like I said, my birthday was last week on Tuesday. Share a birthday with Mondane if he's still here. I share a birthday with Mondane. And I share a birthday with Jen from Retro Rivals. The three of us, it's kind of cool that three people that I know through the gaming community, we all share a birthday on the same day. I had a get-together the weekend right before my birthday with some friends, and as a birthday present, one of my friends bought me this awesome shadow box of Street Fighter 2 with Ken and Ryu squaring off, and it's like this glass, it's like a block of plastic with the pictures like stuck inside. And it comes with like a bunch of stuff so I could like either stand it up or hang it up on the wall. I might just stand this one up. But I saw this and I was like, that is awesome. And I have all those other shadow boxes I've been buying that I still need to hang up behind me. Maybe I'll take care of that this weekend because I have a couple days off because of Labor Day. But yeah, I love this. It's so cool. Ooh, and it's heavy as hell. That's why I don't want to hang this up. It is heavy. So, birthday was last week. Had to get together with some of my friends, that weekend before. This past weekend, the weekend after my birthday, I got together with another group of friends, like my YouTube buddies, up in Milwaukee, and we all went game hunting for an entire day throughout Wisconsin. It was me, Captain Algebra, Rocket Sauce from the Cartridge Club, and Tiger Chainsaw. Captain Algebra, Rocket Sauce, and Tiger Chainsaw all live in Wisconsin. I'm in Chicago, so I drove up there. We met up. Rocket Sauce took us all over Wisconsin. We went to Green Bay. We went to Sheboygan. We went to Appleton. We went all over the place. Like, I can't even remember the last place we were at. We went to all these crazy stores, and I bought stuff at, I think, every single one of them. So I went a little nuts. So naturally, I always talk about Freak Toys whenever I go up to visit Rocket Sauce when he takes me on these game hunting trips. Went to Freak Toys. Didn't actually have a whole lot there this time. Captain Algebra found some cool stuff for his Genesis collection. I think everybody bought something there. But me, I had stuff to sell. I sold all the Blu-rays that I was replacing with my 4Ks, some games that I didn't want anymore. I didn't think I was going to get a whole lot of money, but they gave me like over $300. I still have like $140 worth of credit left. I have to go there and spend because I didn't find a whole lot of stuff to buy. I didn't just want to start buying random stuff because it was there. I wanted stuff that I actually, want. But never thought I was going to buy Atari 2600 games. Turns out they had a gigantic, like, the shelving units that they had, the entire, where the games were, I think it was like PlayStation 1 games, PlayStation 2 games, Xbox games, like PlayStation 3 games. The entire top rack of all of these shelving units was just nothing but Atari games. And I was like, whoa. And there were some good ones. There was a lot of really, really good ones I was going to buy, but the boxes looked like they were trash. Like they were just ripped apart. I did not go to the Dells. Sorry, Peter. Did go to Pizza Ranch, though, for lunch. Yes. So I picked up a copy of Sky Jinx for the Atari 2600, another awesome Activision game. I love that little rainbow swoop from the plane. I don't think I've ever played this one before, but I think it's just like you're controlling the airplane and you need to avoid obstacles and stuff because that's exactly what this picture looks like. Avoid that guy in the balloon, avoid all the trees kind of thing. Wasn't going to pass that up. Love the Activision games. Also picked up one that I haven't played in a long time, but I absolutely loved it. It's Demons to Diamonds. And this one is, I remember correctly, it requires the paddles. I think you can play it with one player, but two players is preferred. And it's like one person's on the top of the screen, another player's on the bottom, and there's like all these things in between. You need to shoot them all. And I remember playing this back in the day, and it was kind of cool. This one actually has a picture of the game on it. Most of these don't. But this was like $6. I was not going to pass that up. LJ and Rainbow. Yep, they're connected. It's a thing. This is one that I actually had when I got back into collecting in 2013. I just had the cartridge loose, but I ended up selling all of my loose cartridges to Mosley from, it was Drunken Master Studios. Now it's Retro Cult Home Videos YouTube channel. What's up, Herb Wars? And I bought this. It's called MAD, M-A-D. Stands for Missile Attack and Defense. And it's kind of like a rip on Missile Command. If you look at the back, you've got like turrets at the bottom. You got things in the sky coming at you. You got to take them out. It's pretty cool. I like the box art on it a lot. The cartridge, this is the first US gold cartridge I've had since I started collecting complete in box. And their cartridges are kind of interesting. They got like this little like divot on the sides for your fingers to be able to pull the cartridge out. All of these are complete. They all come with the manual and everything. I wouldn't have bought them if they didn't have the manual. But yeah, super thrilled. I got this for I think $10, but the expensive one was this one. I think this one was like $25, but I don't see this one very often. And I was like, yeah, give it to me. And that's Super Cobra. And this one is kind of like Scramble, where you're playing as this helicopter and you're kind of like flying through these it's a vertical or a horizontally scrolling like shooter. You're in a helicopter and you're kind of going through like these caverns and all that because there's like a ceiling and there's the floor and there's enemies on the ground that you need to take out. You can kind of see it in the picture. There you go. That's kind of a better angle. I do believe this was an arcade game. Yeah, arcade series. And I was like, I don't see that one. I didn't even realize that this one was an Atari 2600 game. I knew that this was available on like the ColecoVision, either the ColecoVision or the Intellivision. I was not aware of the Atari one. So when I saw it, I was like, I have never seen that before in person. So yeah, give it to me. And the label's peeling a little bit off of the cartridge, but this is what one of the Mattel one or Parker Brothers ones looks like. I don't know if I own a Parker. Yeah, I own Amadar Parker Brothers one. So super thrilled to find that. Looks awesome. And I didn't even need to get protectors for these. They came in protectors already, which good on you, Freak Toys. It's a killer game, yes. While I was there, I also picked this up. Last year when I went to Freak Toys, somebody had just sold like their entire Master System collection. And Rocket Sauce and I got there at the tail end of it, I guess. A bunch of the really good stuff had already gone, but some of the expensive stuff was left. I picked up a bunch of expensive ones because I'd sold a bunch of toys there. Got a ton of credit. Bought the expensive games. They still had some of them there, including Dragon, the Bruce Lee story for the Master System. And I really had no interest in buying this until when I saw it in the case, I was just kind of like, I have that for the Super Nintendo. I don't really think I need to own it for another console. But I actually said, like, can I see the back of the case real quick? And I look at it, and this is nothing like the Super Nintendo / Genesis game / Jaguar game. That is more of like a Final Fight style beat 'em up / like one-on-one fighting game kind of thing. This one is like a platformer beat 'em up. Your character is really, really small, and you're just running around, jumping all over the place, beating the crap out of things. And I was like, okay, this is nothing like the one that I own. Give it to me. And it absolutely is complete. This is a British game. This never came out over here in the States. This is a UK game. You can tell because the manual is horizontally oriented. But it also comes with like the registration card from Virgin and like this, what is this, catalog of other games that are going to be released from Virgin. In like what's coming out in the UK, what's coming out in Germany, what's coming out on the NES. It's weird. So I was thrilled. And the cartridge is even kind of cool looking. It's like a black label instead of like the regular. Normally they're white. On our side of the ocean, they're like red, and on their side it's usually white. So it's rare to see a black one. So I was not going to pass that up. Licensed whore right here, people. That is a nice Sega cover. Yeah, and it is clean as hell. This thing looks like it has never been touched, opened, played. It's like a brand new game. It just wasn't sealed. Didn't pick this one up at Freak Toys. I picked this one up at, I think, Game Trade. I think, or Game Over. I was press start, something like that. We went to like 5 stores. I picked up a copy of Devilish on the Genesis. Well, actually, Devilish: The Next Possession. So I thought this game came out first because I do have Devilish on the Game Gear. And I thought that the Game Gear version was a port of this. No, it turns out the Game Gear one is the first game. This is the sequel. That's why it's called The Next Possession. So it's cool. I have both games in the franchise, I guess. And the reason I wanted this, even though it broke my cardinal sin, it doesn't have a manual. I can live with it because I just really wanted to play it. I'm not a big fan of Breakout unless it's like this. So what it is partially a pinball game and partially Breakout. So you have the little paddle from like a Breakout game, and you have your ball that's bouncing around, but the screen is constantly scrolling up. Sometimes it's scrolling to the sides, and you need to be destroying barricades so you can continue on in the level as the scrolling continues and don't have things in the way that could destroy your paddle. Enemies, barriers, walls, whatever. And then like it'll turn and you'll be going horizontally and still be doing the paddling thing from a Breakout game. It is a lot of fun. I didn't think I would have enjoyed it. That's why I bought the Game Gear game a couple years ago at a local store, and it was like super cheap, which is why I bought it. And then I played it one day on the Game Gear, and I played it for like a good, what was it? Maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I played it on the Game Gear for like a good 2 hours. And I'm like, this is super fun. So when I saw that they had the other version of it, I had to get it. And it's obviously going to be expanded, bigger, definitely be easier to see what you're doing. So absolutely had to have this. Captain Algebra was thinking about buying it for his collection, but because it didn't have the manual, he was like, eh. But I was like, honestly, at this point, I just want to play the game. I can always get a manual later. It's not a big deal. I did pick this up at Freak Toys, and that is Stunt Race FX on the Super Nintendo, the other Super FX chip game other than Star Fox, but this one is a kind of cartoony racing game where he plays like a dune buggy and like the wheels kind of expand and like the car makes all these weird kind of movements. It's strange how they utilized the Super FX chip, and I left the registration card out of Dragon. And normally when I see an in-box Super Nintendo game, they're usually pretty expensive. Not this one. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with the cartridge. It has the manual and everything. This was $20. So I was like, sure, not a game that's at the top of my Super Nintendo list, but for $20, I will definitely buy Stunt Race FX. But the thing is, this is one of those games I never actually played back in the day. I always wanted to rent it, never ended up doing so. So, yeah. Sweet. Now we have some PlayStation 1 games, and one of them is a super heavy hitter for me. I've been wanting it forever. Which ones did I get? Did I get any of these at... Yes, I got this one there. Yes. The other... I want to say this is the last game that I got there. Yeah, this is the last game that I got at Freak Toys. I picked up a copy of Slamscape on the PS1, and this looks like kind of like a racing game, kind of like F-Zero, I guess. But like everything's all psychedelic looking. It just says fight, shoot, drive, and slam to survive. So I guess bumping other cars is kind of part of the mechanics. But this was dirt cheap. This was like $4 or $5, so I was not going to pass it up. Came complete. Actually has a very nice looking disc. Doesn't even look like it's ever been resurfaced. Was there ever an Aeon Flux game for the PlayStation 1? I don't think so. It might have come out for the PC CD. It says it's coming soon for PC CD-ROM and the PlayStation. I don't think it ever did come out. I'll have to look into that because I definitely would want that. So it's like Burnout. Stunt Race FX gets a lot of crap for being laggy. I never actually played it, but yeah, we'll see. Is it like Burnout? I don't think so. This looks more like F-Zero-esque. You kind of look at the pictures. It's just very sci-fi-esque. So, yeah. I picked these two up at, I think, Press Start. Was it Press Start? No, this is Game Trade. Game Trade. I picked up a copy of Broken Sword 2. the Smoking Mirror. I have like 3 other Broken Sword games in my collection. I don't know how many there are total in the series, but I had to pick this one up. And I was actually having a conversation with the guy when he rang me up about this series, and he's like, yeah, Broken Sword games are actually really, really cool. And I was like, yeah, for some reason I always thought they were RPGs. Turns out I was thinking about Kingsfield and not what this is. These are like point-and-click adventure games with like lots of awesome cinemas. There's a little bit of Myst in there also. And yeah, I mean, you can see like the animated stuff right here and all that. Yeah, these are super awesome games. I have one of these games for the Wii. It's like a director's cut of one of the. I think it has Templar in the title, but it's like the director's cut of it. And I have a couple others for other consoles. You'll definitely see them in some of my collection videos as they're coming out. But yeah, this was like dirt cheap. I got this for like $10. So I was like, sure, another Broken Sword game. And then I was talking to Tiger Chainsaw because he almost bought this at. Shit. Maybe I got these at. No, he didn't. No. Did I get this at Press Start? I think I got this at Press Start. I got 3 of these at Press Start. At Game Trade, Tiger Chainsaw had this game in his hand, and he was asking me about it. For some reason, whenever he wasn't familiar with the game, he would always come up to me and ask me what I thought about it, probably because I'm older. I might have played all these different games. And I would usually I knew something about them, and I had told them, I was like, yeah, that game is actually pretty fun, because I had seen it, or I had rented it when I was a kid, and I liked it. I love this type of game, but I actually thought I owned it. And then after he brought it up to me, I thought he was actually buying that copy of it. He didn't actually buy it. He put it back. I looked it up while we were in the car on the way to the next place, and I was like, oh, I actually don't have that in my collection. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I was going to buy a copy of this at Mo Game Con for the Saturn, but when I went back to get it, it was gone. We're talking about Darklight Conflict on the PS1. This is like a Wing Commander, like, space shooter. And I love these type. I'm playing one of these type of games currently. I'm playing Chorus on my PS5. And I love games like this, these outer space, in the cockpit or behind the ship style of 3D space shooters. And I had rented this back in the day, and I remember really, really liking it. But I told Tiger Chainsaw, I was like, yeah, I remember it being pretty cool. But I thought he bought a copy, and he didn't, because when he saw this in my hand, he was like, oh, I was going to buy that at the other place. I'm like, oh, you didn't get it? He's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, oh, man. It is, you can either play it within the cockpit. You can see, like, down here, you're in the cockpit. And then the rest of these shots are from, like, up here. You're behind the ship. So you can switch between them if you want, whatever you're more comfortable playing with. But I absolutely love games like this, so absolutely had to have it. I don't care if I have that on the Saturn or the PS1. I just want to play it again. While I was there, I also picked up this game called Machine Head, which looks like a psychotic version of Twisted Metal. I really can't tell what's going on. Oh, no. It's a first-person shooter. But it's a racing. Okay, so it's a racing game. Okay, whatever. I did not understand this when I looked at it. You can see the guns on the sides of the screen on both sides of each picture. So it's a racing game, but it's also like a shooter. So, yeah, this was like $5, and I was not going to pass it up. I was like, okay, it looks kind of cool. I love the artwork on the front with the crazy lady in the car shooting the guns. Now it makes perfect sense why she is in a car with guns on the sides, because that's exactly what you're doing in the game. But yeah, was thrilled about that. The one that I was like, I'd never see this one ever, and it was super, super cheap, is Eternal Eyes. People have told me about this in the past, and I always kind of go like, yeah, whatever. If I find it, I'll look into it. I'll pick it up. And someone told me, I can't remember who it was who commented on this. I think it might have been Happy Beer Games. Was like, yeah, it's kind of like an RPG, but there's like animal collection, kind of like Pokemon aspects to it or something. I was like, okay, cool. So, yeah, thrilled about that. I like that cover art, though, with the eyes and the sword. I think that's really rad looking. But on the back, there's like Budget Jack Skellington right there. You know, and a little kid wizard going out trick-or-treating. I don't know what to call these people. But yeah, that was dirt cheap, too. That was like another $10. The big PlayStation game that I got, I don't remember the name of the store. It was a suggestion by Tiger Chainsaw. He was like, oh, I found this other store. It's kind of like a toy shop. You know, they have some movies. They mostly sell toys, so it's kind of like a smaller freak toys. But they have a lot of really awesome games there, too. And we went, and we were like, yeah, from now on, we're adding this place to our list of stores that we go to. There was another one that Rocket Sauce wanted to take us to. I'm like, you know what? The last time he took me there, that place was garbage. Everything was sun damaged. I didn't buy anything while I was there. I didn't want anything that was there. Erase that from your memory. This new place that we went to is the new game store we're going to check out. Spaceship Kart Racer. Yeah, I guess. And I've been looking for this game forever. I went to this super expensive gaming store that's like south of me called Play It Retro. Apparently it has a new name now. I don't remember what it was. But they had 2 copies of this in their case, their like video game case, and they wanted like almost $200 for it. And I was like, no, that's the place that every time you ask what price a game is, because nothing has prices on it, you ask what price a game is, they go immediately to eBay to look up what the last one sold as. But they had this for super cheap, and Freak Toys didn't take all of my stuff that I was selling them. They only took about half of it, and I still got about $300 worth, out of it. This place bought the rest of it, and I used it to buy Skull Monkeys on the PS1. And this has a pretty awesome, like, lenticular cover. You can see the eyeball moving around, and some of the teeth are, like, moving around. It's a platformer, but it's all done with claymation. And I had rented this back in the day, and I absolutely loved it. A friend of mine rented it, too, after I told him that I liked it so much, and then he was like, that was one of the worst games I've ever played. I was like, really? Because I thought it was super creative. I love the claymation aspect of it. It looks super great on a PlayStation 1 game, unlike Clay Fighter, or was it Clay Mates or whatever on the Super Nintendo and Genesis. So absolutely had to have it. At the price this was at and the amount of credit that I got for selling my stuff, I absolutely had to pick this up because it was like less than half of what they were charging at Play It Retro. That store can eat my ass. I don't go there. Last time I talked about them in the Nintendo stream that I did, the first part, when I was talking about my copy of what's it called? Burger Time for the NES not working and all that. And I had to drive all the way back 45 minutes out of my way to this place to get hopefully a replacement. And they just kind of like brassoed it and gave it back to me. Excuse me, I need a little drinky drink, and I'm getting clogged again. Whenever I do these streams now, I get clogged. You'll pardon me. I'm going to mute the microphone for a second so I can blow my nose. And you can enjoy my Game Beaters Jank Squad shirt. I don't know why I get clogged when I talk. Whatever. So, was it Press Start? I picked up a lot of stuff. I picked up this one called, Thunderbirds on the Game Boy Advance. Licensed game, absolutely had to have it. Who remembers that there was a live-action Thunderbirds movie that came out in the early 2000s? Raise a hand, show of hands. Anybody? Make an MTV logo, Chris. Yeah. Ew, mucus. Yeah, that place, I don't go there anymore. I went there 3 times. I took Captain Algebra there once when he came to visit me in Chicago, and he didn't buy anything. Plus, on top of the fact that they go by eBay prices for everything in the store, they were only taking cash. And I was like, no, I don't care. Nobody carries cash anymore, especially because of COVID. No, we only take cash. There's a cash station across the street. Go use it and come back. We'll hold your stuff for you while you do it. No, I'm good. But yeah, there was a Thunderbirds movie that came out in the theaters in early 2000s. Bill Paxton was in it. I got a video game. And what this is like a part shmup and part adventure game. And it's in the isometric view. You can see some of the kids are running around in the top picture. The rest are all vehicle shooter levels. The movie I thought was absolute dog shit, regardless of the fact that Commander Riker from Star Trek The Next Generation directed it. I think he's a great director. I just think he picked a horribly bad project to work on because that was such a huge budgeted movie and it bombed so badly. It basically ruined his career. Now he does nothing but TV directing, which is sad because he is a very talented director and that ruined his career. But I absolutely had to have this licensed game horror. Why not? When I was at Game Trade, I picked all of these up. PlayStation 2, Xbox, OG Xbox games. I picked this. No, I did not. I picked this up at Gaming Generations. So Freak Toys is in the middle of Sheboygan, and it's like in this weird strip mall. And at the other end of the street is this tiny little game store called Gaming Generations. Apparently, it's a chain. There's a couple more of them throughout Wisconsin, but there's one right down the street, and we always go to check it out. And the first time Rocket Sauce took me there, I bought absolutely nothing. I almost bought a copy of Ghost of Tsushima from them on the PS4, and this was like in August, and I was picking it up to add it to take it up to the register, and Rocket Sauce like slapped my hand and he goes, "Put it back. Black Friday's coming. You can get it cheaper." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then the last time we went there, I think I bought a couple of games there, and this time I bought a bunch of stuff. And one of them was this game called Blackstone Magic and Steel on the Xbox. I had never heard of this before, but it's an Xbox, Sega Blocks, whatever. It's an Xbox exclusive, which is why I wanted it. And it looks like a pretty cool dungeon crawler type of game. And I love me a good dungeon crawler. It looks like a psychotic version of Gauntlet. And I love me some Gauntlet. So I absolutely had to pick this up. It was like $10, I do believe. Picked this up at Game Trade. It's called Second Sight on the Xbox. And I do believe this came out on every console. This is out on the PS2. This is out on the GameCube and all that. And I think it's a third-person shooter? That's what it looks like. It looks like a third-person shooter, but there's like some psychic, paranormal stuff going on in it too. And I've always been interested in it. I just never jumped at it. But when I was excuse me, when I was looking at the box when I was thinking about buying it, it says a psionic thriller from the creators of Time Splitters, and I was like, you know what? Now is the time. I absolutely love Time Splitters, so absolutely had to get Second Sight. Yeah. And then I bought this because I'm a license whore, and I have the other game featuring this wrapper for the Xbox 360, so why not get the first game in the series? And that's 50 Cent Bulletproof. And the one I have on the Xbox 360 is an open world, like sandbox type of game featuring 50 Cent. So I was like, why not? Just do it. And who's the other guy? G-Unit. I think G-Unit is in it too. So I was like, why not? And the funny thing is, when I had my little birthday get-together the weekend before my birthday, one of my friends was looking at my collection, and he's just like, you have so much stuff. And he goes, you don't have that 50 Cent game, do you? And I pulled out Blood on the Sand, and I showed it to him. I was like, well, I have one of them. And then the next weekend, I find this. So super thrilled about that. I think that's such a weird idea that 50 Cent had his own games. I got these at... I got one of them at... I got this one at Freak Toys. This was in their little expensive case where you check out, and it was still sealed. And this is the last game in this series for the PSP that I needed to complete the subset. And that's Patapon 3. And it's like a rhythm platformer puzzle game where you have these little things. I don't know what they're called, these little creatures. And they like do things to a rhythm and like a song lyrics almost. So certain buttons on the like the X, the triangle, the circle, and the square buttons on the PSP, each one is like a word in the Patapon language. And there's like there's Pon, Pata, Patapon, and something else. And you have to like type certain commands to a rhythm with those four buttons, and each command will make them do something. Like if you want them to move, you like pan, pata, or pon, patapon, and they'll move. And then pan, patapon makes them attack. And you have to like do all these things to get them to do, like, it's kind of like Lemmings almost at times, but it's super fun to the point where they made 3 games in this series. And I absolutely had to have it. I've been looking for this one for a long time, and I finally found it, and it was not that expensive for something that's still sealed. I think this was like $20, and I was like, sure, I need it. Give it to me. So that subset is now complete. I picked this one up at Game Trade, and that's Worms Open Warfare. I absolutely love the Worms series. It's like it's better when you're playing multiplayer with other people, but you can play against the computer, and it's just fine. But it is like a strategy game, I guess, where you play as a bunch of little worms. Each one of them you can give a certain power to. Like you can make one of them shoot a rocket. You can make one of them throw a grenade at the other ones. And each of them has 100 hit points. And certain weapons does a certain amount of damage, takes away a certain amount of points. You have to kill all the opposing worms from the other team. You can knock them in the water. Most of the time you have water at the bottom of the level or lava or something. You can knock them in that and kill them instantly. But there's a lot of physics involved too, because there's usually like a wind, like the above the level, there's like a wind speed thing, and you can shoot your rocket. Like you say you got a character here and another character here on the other side of the level, but the wind is pushing this way, wind is pushing the opposite way of the person. You need to make sure you aim your rocket away from them so that the wind will take it and hopefully bring it to your enemy. It's super awesome. I did not know that there was one on the PSP, and when I saw it sitting there, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And this is, I think, $15, so no big whoop. Hope you got a specific game recently you like yesterday. Oh, you talking the Turtles game? Who's a worm? Take a shot. I picked this up at that Gaming Generations place. I've been wanting this forever, but it's always too expensive. And they were only selling it for like $30-some, I think. And for the Wii, it's the Mad Dog McCree Gunslinger Pack. So these are light gun games that originally came out on the 3DO. I don't have a CRT to play on. So I would love to get those games. I've always wanted to play them. I've always wanted to own them. But since I don't have a CRT and I don't have the 3DO light gun, can't really do it. But luckily, what company released this? Majesco decided, hey, you can play light gun games through the Wii, and you don't need a CRT to do it. So let's just put them on like one disc, all the Mad Dog McCree games, and put them on one disc. So it's Mad Dog McCree 2, and the Bounty Hunter. So there's 3 games on here. And on top of that, the video clarity is fantastic compared to what it would look like on the 3DO, since you're playing on a CD and not a DVD. So absolutely awesome that I have a new light gun game that I can actually play and enjoy. And it was not super expensive. How am I gonna get that TV of his to me? First worm-style game you ever played was an MS-DOS game where gorillas threw bananas at each other. Yeah, I played Worms. I played like an early version of Worms. I don't remember exactly where or how I played it. I want to say it was on my dad's computer or something at some point, like my dad's old IBM, maybe. I don't remember. I got a lot of shit for buying this one from my friends that I was hanging out with during the Wisconsin game hunt. But I keep on saying, I'm a license whore. I was like, of course I had to have it. Then the bananas exploded. I found this at Half Price Books. It was the only game I found at Half Price Books the day that I went. They had absolutely nothing there. They had nothing good in the way of movies. They had nothing good in the way of RPG stuff, like tabletop stuff. I look every time I go now. And they had nothing good in the way of video games except for this. And I was like, I don't see this very often. It's a licensed game. I'll give it a shot. And it's a NCIS for the PS3. I do have the CSI game also. I also have the game based on Lost. So television games, why not? And it's like a police procedural in video game form. And of course, they're going to put Paulie Perrette there on the back. She was the main draw to this damn show anyway. So, yeah, I wasn't going to pass it up. I think this was like $20. Like I said, I don't see this one very often. So for $20, I was willing to give it a shot. It can only just suck. I don't think it'll be awful. But then again, I've never actually really sat down to watch CS or NCIS or CSI for that matter. So, yeah, why not? I just want to have fun. No Half Price Books in your area, just second in Charles. Is that like a Half Price Books type place? Just looked it up. It's literally just called Gorillas. Oh, she's from Alabama? Yeah, here she's like super religious too. Picked this one up at Game Trade, and TJ Kitsune was like, is that like when I showed the picture of all the games that I bought, he was like, oh my God, is that a Vita game? I was like, yeah, I actually found a Vita game I didn't own, and it was not super expensive. Vita stuff is so expensive now, it's like, I don't even know if I want to keep collecting for it. It's like ridiculous. But I love this series. I love the developer, so I absolutely had to have it, and it's Wipeout 2048 on the Vita. Psygnosis, guys, Psygnosis and me, we're best pals. But awesome sci-fi racing game. I love this series, absolutely. Race up to 8 players over Wi-Fi via a PS Vita or the PS3. That's kind of cool. But playing one of these on the go on the Vita, absolutely yes, yes, yes. Had to have it. This was like $25, which is not bad for a Vita game. And now we've got modern stuff. Well, this was not super modern, but I picked this one up at that Gaming Generations. They had another PSVR game that I wanted there, but the disc had like a chip taken out of it. And the guy was like, I can try to buff it because he had a buffering machine there or a resurfacer. And he's like, I don't think it'll take care of this. It's going to ruin the disc. I'm like, why do you have it on the floor? And that was it No Man's Sky, the VR edition. I was like, I really want it, but if it's not going to play, the hell with it. But the other PSVR game that he had that I wanted that I don't own is Robinson. What is it? Robinson the Journey. And I don't know what kind of a game it is. It looks like a first-person adventure game in VR. So wasn't going to pass that up. I think Cap bought one there too about eagles, Eagle Eye or something, or Eagle Flight something. But yeah, why not? I love PSVR. Absolutely had to have that, and it was not expensive. And the rest we have here are PS5 games. So let's talk about the ones that I picked up before the trip. So Tiger Chainsaw posts like pickups, kind of like the way I do. He posted a picture of some games he got really cheap, I think off of Amazon for the PS5 on Twitter. And I was like, some of those games, or at least two of those games sound pretty cool because I own one of the prequel to the game that I bought in this series. I have it for the PS4. And I was like, and these other ones sound really cool. Let me look them up real quick. And I did. And yeah. Oh, yeah, stop collecting Vita. Wipeout's a great game. Yeah. Okay, Gorilla Thing, and I'll stop hijack your ship. I found that MS-DOS game has an Android app. What? I might have to look that up. Yeah, I might have to look that up, too. I'm always looking for something fun to play casually while I'm eating at a restaurant by myself or something on my phone. So he had bought a copy of this game called The Last Stand Aftermath, and it looks like a dungeon crawl style game with zombies. And this was $15 on Amazon. It might still be $15. I don't know. But I was not going to pass it up. It looks fantastic. I love me a good dungeon crawler, especially if there's zombies involved. So why not? It just says you're infected, but you can still make a difference. Sneak and fight through a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Outwit the zombie hordes. Why not? It was $15. I don't give a shit. The other one is this game called Foreclosed, which I think was also $15. And this looks like a comic book-esque first-person shooter. I mean, if you look at the pictures on the back, that looks freaking amazing. And this is $15. So I was not going to pass that up either. And then the one that I knew already was because I own the previous game in the series. I own it on the PS1 or PS4. And that is Aragami 2. This is a ninja action game. And yeah, wasn't going to pass that up. And this was like $18. So why the hell not? Brand new games for the PS5. Dirt cheap. Give them to me. Foreclosed is 2008 simulator. Hey, funny, Peter. Okay, so I ordered this through Play Asia in June, I think. It was right around the time when it was coming out, when it was being released. And it showed up last week to my work. It took them, I don't know how long, like a month and a half, almost 2 months to get this to me, which is freaking ridiculous. And it is this Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series collection. It has Klonoa 1 and 2 on it, and I think they've been remastered. I own Klonoa 2 on the PS2. I found that dirt cheap at my local retro store. I don't own Klonoa 1 because that one is ridiculously expensive for a PS1 game. But I didn't want to get like there's one that has like a Chinese rating on here. There's one that has like a Japanese rating. I don't know what version this is, but it has no rating classification on it at all. And that might be why it took longer to get it to me. I don't know. But I really wanted to get this so I could play through the original Klonoa at some point, because I really wanted to play my part 2 and my Game Boy Advance game that I have in the series. So, and I have one for the Wii also. So yeah. Klonoa. The art style of Klonoa. Yeah, that weird cat with the weird tufts on his ears and all that. It's adorbs. It's adorbs. And then there's this weird bastard cousin of the what do they call the slimes from Dragon Warrior. So yeah, I was pissed that took forever to get to me, but it's here. But I picked 2 games up at when we were out shopping in Wisconsin. So that store that Tiger Chainsaw took us to, I still can't remember the name. I have the receipt in the other room. I'm not going to go get it. I need a drink though. I'm starting to get clogged again. You can hear it in my nose. You can hear it in my voice. I'm getting all like nasally. And I'm guaranteeing I'm going to leave the room after the stream is over, and I'm going to be like, I can breathe through my nose freely. Why did this happen? It's only because I'm talking for an hour and a half. So we went to where the games were in this new store that only Tiger Chainsaw had been to previously, and I hear Rocket Sauce like yelp. He went like, woo! And I run over to see what's going on, and he's holding like 3 copies of the same game that are still sealed. And he's like, the price! And I'm like, what's going on here? And he holds up Death Stranding, the director's cut for the PS5. There was 3 sealed copies of this sitting there on the shelf for $27 each. This is still going for $50 some, almost $60 in some places right now. And I'm like, oh, those supposed to be some of those copies that like fell off a truck. Just happen to have 3 sealed copies sitting in this store, right? Well, he's a super huge fan of Hideo Kojima and this game in particular, and he's been wanting to play this director's cut on the PS5, but he is not willing to pay what is being asked for it currently at regular stores and online. So when he saw this for $27, he was like, oh, it's mine. I was like, well, you know what? I've been wanting to get a copy of this too, and I didn't want to pay full price for it, so I will take one as well. But yeah, super strange from what I understand, delivery simulator, and with a crazy-ass storyline like every Hideo Kojima game usually has, with Daryl Dixon in it. And Le Chiffre from Casino Royale in it, and Guillermo del Toro in it apparently too. Okay. And Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman. Okay, whatever. But yeah, I'm wanting to play this. I had a copy of this that I had gotten for the PS4 of the original version. I got it on Black Friday. But then when I found out there was a PS5 director's cut coming out, I got rid of that at Freak Toys, and they basically paid me what I paid for it because it was still sealed, which is kind of awesome. So now I can actually play the full version because this, I guess, has all of the DLC that came out after the game's original release. So that's cool. But I found this one at Press Start, and Tiger Chainsaw gave me the weirdest look when I was looking at it, and I'm like, is this one of those Japanese porn games? Like one of those weird-ass, creepy waifu digital novel bullshits that I'm not really interested in, even though I have 2 of them for the Vita because I got them through limited run games. Whatever. And he looks at me, he goes, no, that game is absolutely fucked up. And I was like, oh, is it? And I look at the back, and it looks all cutesy and stuff on the front. And I look at the back, and the thing on the very top, it says, enter the #1 psychological horror experience. And I was like, oh, okay. And this is like the extra plus edition that comes with 6 new side stories, 13 additional music tracks, over 100 unlockable images, and unique goodies inside this box. And it also says this game is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. And I was like, well, I'm buying this one. And it's this weird-ass thing called Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. So Tiger Chainsaw, I guess, played this, and he said it disturbed the shit out of him. And then when I took my picture of all the games that I bought while I was out, Church, the game grinder, was like, that game is fucked up and it is awesome. So I'm super glad that I picked this up. And this was like $20, I think. And it comes with a bunch of extra stuff that I'm surprised was still there because this copy was sitting there open on the shelf at Press Start. And nobody took this shit. So there's like this Literature Club membership card. There's a business card in there for the metaverse, which I guess has something to do with the story. There's a soundtrack download. I won't show you what the code is, but it's on a card that looks like an old 3.5-inch floppy disk, which is kind of rad. Has a bunch of stickers. What is this? There's a poem and like these cardboard characters that you can punch out of here. I'm never going to use any of this stuff except maybe the soundtrack code if I think the music is good. But yeah, that's awesome, and it's a horror game. It looks like so cute and adorable on the front, and even on the back, it looks all cutesy and whatever. It looks like a waifu game where you're playing as a bunch of high school girls or whatever. And apparently, it's a super disturbing horror game. Why not? I'm easily disturbed. Omake stuff. I don't know what that is, but that's it for my recent pickups for this month. Like I said, all that video game stuff out of like two things that I showed off video game wise, everything I bought this month. No, out of five things that I bought this month. Everything else came from game hunting throughout Wisconsin, which was super fun. I can't wait to do it again. I have to go back to Freak Toys to use up the rest of that credit. I'm just going to give them a couple of months to restock because they didn't really have a whole lot of other stuff I was interested in. There was plenty of stuff I would have bought if it A was complete, B didn't look like shit. So there's always that. The Japanese action. Ooh. No TMNT game. I pre-ordered it, but turns out I spent a little bit of too much money when I was in Wisconsin, so I canceled my pre-order. I can always buy it again. It's not a big deal. I'll probably get it on Friday. I'll go to Best Buy or whatever and pick up a copy. But yeah, that'll definitely be in my pickups for September. But yeah, that's it. Awesome movies I can watch, awesome games I can be playing. And tomorrow there's going to be another live stream. Tomorrow is the third part of my NES collection live streams. Those are going very well. They're fun to do. I will probably have to take some Nasonex or something before I do the stream, just so I'm not. But yeah, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central Time, I will be streaming part 3 of my NES collection, part 3 of 4 of my NES collection. Hope to see most of you there. That would be awesome. I love talking to everybody that's here. And then next week we'll have part 4, which will be awesome as well. So thank you everybody for coming and hanging out with me tonight for my newest pickups video. Love doing these things. I will talk to you all later, possibly tomorrow. So Chris, the old ass retro gamer, out. Have a good night, everybody.